Yo, hustlers, welcome back to HustlePedia episode. We have a very special guest with us today. I'm very excited to bring him onto the show. I'm going to let Logan introduce
huge guest. Someone with 1,000 plus followers on Twitter and YouTube. Somebody who's accomplished a $500,000 portfolio before 18. Landon Wickenberg, aka the Canadian Stockman.
Thanks so much for having me on. Nice to see all you guys. So what's the first thing that we're going to talk about?
I'm in.
Yeah, so we'll basically
that.
Split the show into this is going to be heavily based off just starting off basic investing, the mindset that it takes to investing, the just stocks in general, because that's what his niche is and his specialty. And we've got some people who trade themselves on the table here, so it'd be a good conversation to have. So hope you get started. So we'll get right into it.
All right, so let us know who Landon is. Let the viewers know. Anybody who wants to know?
Yeah, let us hear it.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so back when I was 13, 14, I was super entrepreneurial, and I was asking my dad, like, what can I do? Like, what books can I read to, like, get more ahead of, like, everyone else around me? Because I'm always trying to get ahead. And so he's like, I would recommend reading, like, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Wealthy Barber. I'm like, okay, like, I'll read those. And then I read those, and then there's something in there called the stock market. I have no idea what this is, but they keep saying, like, stock market. Like, you want to invest.
Yeah.
You want to grow that money. The compound interest is crazy. Like just like compounding over time, the snowball effect. And I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Intrigued you, hey?
Yeah. And so I was curious about it because no one really talked about it. And then so once I started researching about it, and I watched some YouTube videos on it, and it just, like, it really, really got me going. And then so it just kind of took off from there. And then I opened up an account right when I turned 16 under my dad, and then I just started trading from there. And
daily?
Then,
Was it a daily kind of thing, or once every now and then?
Yeah, no, it started off more as daily, and I mean, I was a noob at the time, and I was buying top gainers, and because I thought, like, hey, if it's running, it's gonna keep running.
Yeah,
I'd end up buying at the top, and then I'd sell at the bottom when it was about to bounce, and then I'd buy it back again, and it would drop again. So I have a pretty bad start, but
basic retail investor moves.
Yeah, it was basic retail. Yeah, exactly. But that's how everyone starts, in my opinion, and you just learn from your mistakes and you go from there. And so but that's the main start. And I mean, I'm an athletic guy. I used to play soccer, hockey, volleyball, track. I mean, I haven't really been doing any of that now since COVID, and I think a lot of people, COVID has really impacted them in the way that they've been exercising and doing the sports.
Their mindsets.
Yeah, but that really also pushed me into more grinding the investing and learning stuff in the stock market, because that's all I had to do. I couldn't go outside.
Yeah.
I was staying at home, and so I just did that.
Yeah, so what I'm wondering is, like, like, I personally trade myself, and know Parsa does as well. So, the big question that gets raised is that stock market's a gamble. I know you started when you were super young as well. I started off when I was like 17 when I first, because personally, same story. I used to always talk about it, but I never knew what it was. I watched videos about it. I thought it was very complicated in the starting, like a bunch of numbers, charts, and all that stuff. And I never wanted to, like, take that first step till things happened in my life that led me to that. But what would you tell somebody who has the mindset that they've been told around them that this is just a gamble, you're gambling your money and all that stuff? So how would you explain to them? Because that's usually the first question people get asked me usually. So
I mean, that's true. Like, I think that there is a way that you can look at it as gambling, because you have no idea, you can't predict the future of it. But I mean, I think that's like with everything. Like, you open up a restaurant down the street, you're gambling that people are gonna come. You're gambling 100%. That people are gonna like your food. Like, I think everything is a gamble. This is just more of a gamble that people don't like, because it's not something that they can really control. Because it's like, when you buy a stock, like, yes, you own the stock, and you own that share, and you can sell it and buy it whenever you want. But it's not like you have control in the company. You can't be like, hey, I think you guys should sell this product. Like, I think that product's bad. Like, get that off. Or like you can't tell them how to manage the company. It's not like you're owning a whole chunk of the company. Like, if you own majority, then, like, yes, you'd have control. But I mean, that's just how I view it. So what you were saying, Lavanch, with that being a gamble, I think it's somewhat of a gamble, but at the same time, I don't see it like that, just because everything in life is a gamble.
Pretty much.
Ooh, hot take.
And so if you don't take risk, you won't get rewards. And so it's not to say, like, hey, let's go to the casino and pick black. I find that a gamble. Just because, like, it's just there's no research done behind it. You don't know. Like I think like if you did counting cards and at a blackjack table, like I would say that's less gambling than if you were to pick black or red, because you're doing some research and you're counting your cards. You're making your odds better. And I think that's just what investing is normally. You're just trying to be better.
Yeah, I think you're calculating it like in a way better perspective. I think people who think of it as just a gamble, I think it's mostly because you gamble on something you have no idea about. But if you educate yourself on some aspect and you know, like there's so much statistics and math that goes behind trading in general that if you can understand, like, I mean, sure, there's some math formulas none of us probably get and we just use them. But I guess it's just if you start off from just, thinking of it as a gamble, I think you have the wrong mindset, and people have told you around you that, oh, it's just a gamble. I think it's not how it is. It's been here for what, like 100 years, 100 plus years easily. The market's always been there and had up and down, but there's crashes, there's that and all that stuff. But you'd also see people change their lives from it. So it's pretty crazy to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So do you invest in things that tend to change human lives? Like,
I prefer to, and what I mean by that is I prefer to invest in a company that is doing more good than bad. Like, so for example, like I've been invested in some like gambling companies, and if it's like sports betting, I don't mind that. But when it's the straight casino, I tend not to like love it as much. Like maybe I won't go as heavy, or like I'm just not a big fan, just because I know that like maybe yes, it is bringing joy to someone, but at the same time, a casino in my eyes, like I just find it kind of like a scam in a way, and I don't like seeing people lose money. So I rather prefer to invest in a company. There's one such as Vivos that is making devices for sleep apnea.
Oh, really?
And so that really helps people who have sleep apnea, and my dad actually uses it. And so it's like, okay, like I like investing in companies that I can see have a difference in the world, and something like that.
Yeah, like when I started investing myself too, like I've noticed like a lot of small different like science tech companies that are really trying to change how diseases, like they're trying to control diseases, find fixes and everything. And it's just crazy how much you can learn about these small companies just through trading stocks alone.
Yeah, like what's going on, like especially when I started, it was very heavily COVID based, C-19 based. I think that's when the vaccines were being made and stuff, and it was super fresh. And I think like to learn like the things that are working on, like just like pharmaceutical companies, trying to find a cure to HIV, trying to find a cure to major diseases that we don't know much about. I think that's like, it's like I learned so much by just reading a couple articles. So what I'm wondering is that, like, when you start investing in stocks and from scratch, like people usually worry about the amounts that they start with. I think that's just the biggest question that gets raised. I don't have a lot of money, I don't have a lot of capital. So if you don't mind sharing personally how much you started with, and also like what would you recommend somebody who doesn't have enough capital to spare to start investing? Like not trading, I would say, but just investing, because that's the biggest question. People get worried that I only have $500, I only have $1,000. So how would you let them like think of how would you tell them to tackle that situation? I'd say.
Well, so I mean, personally, I started off with $100, and then I put in another 150, and so I had $250 I was using in my Wealth Simple account, and I thought, okay, like, I want to get into this. It's a small amount. I know I'm not gonna turn that into $200,000, but it's gonna be something where I'm putting in that money, and I don't care if I lose it. I don't care if I make money. I'm basically putting that money in.
You're forgetting about it.
And forgetting about it and using it as a lesson. Yeah. Like it's like if you went out and bought a course or something, like you're not getting that money back, but you're gonna gain knowledge out of that. So that's what I thought that $250 would do for me, and it did. But if someone has literally like no money to spare, like all of it's tied up, like their rent, everything, I recommend like just go on and get a paper trading account, which is just fake money, and I would only use a certain amount that you would actually be using once you started trading, because normally they let you have $100,000.
Yeah.
You don't want to use all $100,000 because it's not like you're gonna just
it's not realistic.
No, it's not realistic. Yeah. And so maybe you make 1,000 off of that. That doesn't make sense. Like it's not worth it. You have to start with whatever it's gonna be. So maybe it was $1,000, then only use 1,000 of that $100,000. So it's 99,000 that would be left in that account. And so I mean, the main thing is just to start. Like if it's paper trading, start. If it's starting with $100, start. Like when you're first starting off, know that money may not be there. Like and that's like in general, like whenever you're putting money into investing, even when you're diversifying, pretend like it's not there. Like you can't rely on it, because it's just like if something did happen and like it crashed or something and you can't sell out, and then all of a sudden you're tight for cash and you're worried about it, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So Landon, because you started trading from such a young age, I'm curious, did you ever get backlash from friends way back in the day from trading? You know, it's different. You were kind of doing something that no one else was. So did they ever like think of you as an outcast?
I mean, like a bit. It wasn't like, oh, like making fun of me, but it was for sure like, oh, like why are you doing that, or like you're not gonna make anything off of that, or and so like for example, like I went to Strathcona High School, and so during lunchtime I'd normally either be up on the bleacher and I'd just be on my phone trading the whole time,
Or charting stuff.
And then after a little bit, then I started going to the library just because I found everyone a distraction. They'd be like, oh, like what are you doing, like, and they'd be like, oh, and I'd be like, oh, like how much did you make, or they'd be like, how much did you make, how much did you lose, and I'm like, oh, like I lost $50 a day, and they're like, then why are you even doing it, bro?
Yeah.
Like that makes no sense.
They didn't have any
Like,
faith. Huh?
no, like it's a waste of time. And I'm like, okay, like whatever. And so I just like would go to the library, and then so I eventually just started going on my own and doing that during my lunch times.
And you're currently not in school right now.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how you balance trading when you were in school.
Yeah, so I mean that's a good question, because it was actually really hard. I mean, I would be in math class with my computer out, and then my teacher would walk by and be like, "Why do you have your computer out?
Why are you doing
You don't
that,
need it. It's math." And I'm like, I would be like, "Oh, okay, like sorry about that," and like I'd be in the middle of a trade, and then sometimes it would get me caught because we'd go into a test and I'd still be in that trade, and then
and then you'd go down. Or
and
whatever?
it'd go down, and then I'm like, shoot, like I literally I missed my selling point. Like I'd have to put a limit order sometimes, but sometimes it would be like right below that, because I like to sell right at resistance, and so it would be hard to trade. And sometimes I'd go to the washroom, and then I'd just go on big
long bathroom breaks.
on big long bathroom breaks.
Yeah.
Risks of trading in class.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like, like when you start off, like, I mean, when I started off, everybody starts off, they have like, people have opinions that, and then down the road, once you accomplish something, I know your portfolio has done wonders, right? So like you get people asking, like, I'm sure a lot of people didn't want to be around you when you were starting off, and now a lot of people want to know, right? And I just feel like, how did you like deal with that? Like people coming around always like, oh, what's the best stock? I know that happens a lot. What should I invest in? What should I do? What would you advise to people that are always looking to ask other people that what's the best thing, instead of like researching themselves or something? How would you tell them to go ahead? And
I mean it's like the saying, like you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime, or you give a man a fish, like you feed him for the day.
Right.
I mean, I've always thought like you want to learn on your own. It's good to have a mentor and like ask some serious questions to someone who's like winning at it. And like even myself, like I wouldn't say like I'm the best person to ask. Like sure, I've been winning, but I can have losing streaks, and for the last like few months, like we'll talk about that too, like I've been losing heavy. But back to what you said, I mean the main thing is just you wanna not be a leech so much on them and take all the knowledge that they know. Like you want to actually be there and like provide something as well, because if you're asking someone like myself about stocks, or like what's the best thing to do, or what's the best thing to invest in when you're starting, it's
complicated.
And it's also annoying. Like you got to think like, oh, okay, if someone's successful, how many messages like that do you think they get a day? Like I could look into my DMs and like I'd be like, oh, like why is this stock down? Like why is it not up? You said to buy it now. Like blah blah blah.
And it's not like you can make someone a guru overnight. Like
no,
they need that intrinsic motivation. Some time.
Yeah, so once you started seeing your success in the stock market and how much growth you had, how were you able to stay on track and like grounded?
Storing some money away at times. So one thing is, I mean, I'll lead into this, but I bought a super expensive car. I don't know. Can we talk about that now?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, go into it, man.
All right, so I bought a 2019 McLaren
P1
570s.
Nice one.
And so it was a Spider as well, so convertible. And so I mean, I bought it straight out cash. Okay. So it was 200. Oh, wow.
Cash. Yeah. Sorry. What did the dealership guy think when you just pulling out bands like that?
You're telling him you're paying all cash.
Well, actually, it's kind of funny. I never even got to go in the McLaren that I bought. I never even saw it in person. I literally called up McLaren Vancouver.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what one do you got? And he's like, we have a really good deal on one. It's like a 2019, low kilometers, has everything, like titanium exhaust. And then it was listed, it was like 219 and then plus tax. And then I'll talk about like the rims and wrap. And then I was like, what's the youngest customer you had? And he's like, I've had 19-year-olds. And then I was like, I'm 17. And he's like, what?
No way.
That's crazy though. Buying a McLaren at 17, not something.
Yeah.
So what, it got
people
shipped? It got shipped here.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it got shipped here. It was like $2,000 to ship, and it was in a covered trailer.
Did it? Yeah, and it came off in front of your house.
Yeah, and it really pissed me off because I was actually recording a YouTube video for it.
Yeah.
And then I had my camera lens on the whole time that I was recording.
Oh, wow.
And I was so mad. I was so mad. I literally I was almost in tears because it was like something that I wanted to have for like the rest of my life. Like
yeah,
the
vision,
moment.
hey?
Yeah, the moment when I saw it, but it was fine. Like I like to live in the moment as well.
Yeah,
So-
definitely.
So what was it? What did it feel like? You know, like I mean, a lot of us would love to have a McLaren at this age.
Yeah.
What did it feel like sitting in that car? And you know, like how did you like? What was the first impression of just getting in that car for the first time?
It felt crazy because like I watch motivational videos like so much of like just like people driving like Lamborghinis, like in yachts, helicopters, McLarens, and so like for the last since it was September 2019, I had been watching McLaren videos like almost every single night before I went to bed. Like every single night I'd be watching like.
So it was your dream car.
It was my dream car, yeah. And I mean, I even had a poster from.
What color?
What color?
Yeah, what color?
The poster?
No, the car.
Oh, it was purple.
And that's the one you wanted? It was purple?
Yeah. The one that I had in my room that was a poster was red.
Okay.
But I mean, purple had become my favorite color. So
I have a question. What do you think it was a good decision now looking back on it, buying it?
yeah,
Yeah?
100%.
So why?
Because one, I would have lost more money in the market than I did on the car.
Okay.
Two, the connections that I've made with that car,
With the car,
and how people have kind of saw me as different and like someone who drove like a Range Rover and like was like this like guy who like had multiple businesses.
He gave you respect when he spoke to you.
Yeah, he would actually talk to me. He wouldn't just like kind of blow me off because he knew like I was serious. And when he's like, "Oh, is that daddy's money?" I'm like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, damn, like what do you do?" And I'm like, "Stocks," and he's like, "Oh, damn, like I have like a construction company or blah blah." And so like it was really really sick. So
it was a networking tool for you.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
But
Interesting.
like, so you know, I'm sure people had their viewpoints. I'm sure people were like, "Oh, it's not a good financial decision."
Yeah.
I'm sure you thought it through before you did it.
Yeah.
So you know, you probably grabbed a lot of attention. You know, probably turned a lot of heads. So how did you deal with the negative comments that came with it first? And I want to follow up that after.
Yeah.
But the first aspect of people telling you, "Oh, you know," I'm sure people were like, "That's so stupid.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? You know, you're so young. Why didn't you invest in the real estate and all that stuff?" So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was pretty annoying because a reason why I didn't like to go to high school was because of all of those comments. And I mean, even the people like who were in my grade, they were saying like, "Oh, like he's gonna crash that car like in a week. Like he's gonna end up
Wow.
killing himself."
Pure envy.
He like what a stupid purchase. Like he thinks that he's gonna like keep making money. Like he's just gonna like he's just on a little like lucky streak. Like all this. And so I mean, it was actually like pretty annoying hearing like, "Oh, he's gonna go crash it," because it's like I don't know, like I don't like
That's the terrible, honestly. Yeah.
like you just don't like you don't think that about someone, and so it got in my head a little bit, but at the same time I was like, these people are just mad that like they're not driving this kind of a car. And the other thing was just like ignoring it. Like I'm not at school. I didn't need to go to school because I could do it online. So then I just kept it out of my head, and when I'm not thinking about it, I'm not worrying about it. So the main thing for me was just like ignoring it completely. Like it's not like I thought about it and like overcame it. It's just like I would ignore the haters, like they always say, and I would just do it on my own.
So you would say that situation and the comments and backlash from buying the McLaren helped you to really put the tunnel vision on, the blinders, and not really give a shit what other people think?
Yeah, and for sure now, like even now, having the McLaren and having the haters and even my YouTube channel, like it's helped me not care about what people think. Like I'll go to the mall with my hair like not done or anything because I don't care anymore.
Yeah, you don't care. You're up. You know, you don't
Like,
like
listen,
I got money. I got money. I don't
got to
care.
McLaren in the parking lot.
Yeah, like I used to care so much. I'm like, oh my god, like my hair's not done. Like Maddie, we can't go to the grocery store. Or, like we can't go here. Like I'd be so stressed out. I'm like, what if someone sees me? Like, what are they gonna think? And I'm like, now, like I don't care. Like someone can go think that about me, but it doesn't matter to me because like I know where I'm gonna end up. And if they hate on me, then hate on me. But
and if they judge you and then watch you get in it, totally different story.
So what about the attention? You know, like I'm sure a lot of people wanted to become your friend suddenly. A lot of people wanted to know this and that from you because you know, you, of course, you drove a nice car.
Yeah.
You know, I actually got some people texting me learning the stocks after they saw your car, which was very weird because I got like 2 or 3 people texting me saying, "Can you teach me stocks?" And my friend just bought a McLaren. And I was like, "Oh, I know what you're talking about because I'd heard that you bought the McLaren." But what I'm wondering is that there was a lot of attention that probably came with the McLaren, right? A good attention and bad attention. We talked about the bad part, but how did you deal with the good part? As in, like, you know, like the connections that built through it. You know, like a lot of people that you met through it. Can you like dig more into how did that?
Yeah, just
how did that
elaborate
itself like help you with connections? Because like at the end of the day, it's a car, but just the mindset behind it. Because I know you had calculated it before you actually bought the car. So how did you pivot that one?
Yeah, sure. No, for sure. So, I mean, one is the dealership. So, like, the people at the dealership. So, Yoshi, really great guy. He's at Sherwood Park Motors. And so, I mean, that's a connection now. I got someone who I can go to that I know will be able to sell my car. Great guy. And then also the owner, he owns, like, some of
Sherwood.
Yeah, some of Sherwood Motors, and so he owns like multiple businesses. He owns an app. Like he's a big like multi-million-dollar guy, and he said that he reminded me of a younger him.
Wow.
And so he took me out for lunch, and so like we had lunch, and so like I mean like there's ideas on the table about maybe starting something with him, and so like I mean that's a big connection for me, and I won't disclose like what exactly, but like but like so that's a big connection as well, and so but not only that, but even like just people messaging me, like Jacob messaged me, and I'm sure that had a lot to do with like having the car and like maybe him like hearing about it or just like seeing the success, and so it just like it brought eyes to people who also had the same mindset as me, and then connected me with them. But like you said, Lavanche, I did have to cut out the leeches, and so people are like, "Oh, can I have a ride? Can I this? Can I that?" And so I mean, it would be pretty annoying. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the people who used to diss me were then asking me for a ride, like it's my dream car. And
did that make you feel good?
Yeah,
it did in a small bit.
Yeah, it made me feel good, but at the same time, it's like why now? Like why is it always when someone gets success or gets something that you want that you like switch up? Yeah, and so.
So besides your dad being so crucial in the early stages of your life, did you ever have another mentor, someone that you looked up to?
I mean Warren Buffett, but that's most investors kind of
Warren
look up to him. I mean, for sure. One quote that I always think about is just how investing is. You can think about it like a game of baseball. I mean, there's the baseball right there. So
World Series.
Yeah, you have strikes in baseball, but with investing, you don't. And so when you get a pitch in baseball, you kind of have to swing after 3, but with investing you don't have to swing after 3. You can wait for that perfect pitch, that perfect company that's like comes your way, and then you hit it and it's a home run. So like you just wait for that. You wait for something that's 10 out of 10. And so I mean like this is where my biggest loss came into play when I had something that was a 9 out of 10. And so I was like, "Okay, I love every single thing about this company except for the CEO."
Okay.
I was like, the CEO has a bad past. Like he had a company that got basically like ran to the ground.
Bankrupt.
Yeah, and then I had a phone call with him. I was like, "So like what happened here?" And he's like, "Oh well, I was kicked out. I was fired." And then the directors who were then promoted were the ones who ran it to the ground. And so I was like, "Okay, like that makes sense. Like I'll give you like a second chance," like in my head kind of thing, like not literally giving him a second chance, because like it's not like I'm the CEO of the company or anything. But and so when I then invested in that company, that's when things started to go bad. And I mean, I got my Discord in it. Like YouTube people got in it. And so the thing with me is that when I get into a stock and I talk about it and I share it,
It's your reputation.
it's my reputation, and also it hurts me because like it hurts my like heart because I know that I'm losing someone else's money as well. It's not just my money on the table anymore. It's my friends, it's my family,
Other
it's
people
followers,
too.
yeah. And like it's not like these people all have a whole bunch of money that they can lose. Like they're like average family people, or like just people trying to make some extra money for college, or like starting to try to get financially free.
And they've also put their trust in you. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So-
And so it really upset me. But when I did pick that company that was a 9 out of 10, that's when I had my biggest loss, and the figure was 140,000. So
That's crazy.
that was
How did you?
biggest loss.
How'd you
I
deal
want to
with
know
that?
personally. Yeah, how did you deal with that? Was there just? I want to know.
So I mean, I didn't get that feeling in my stomach anymore.
Okay.
After GME, it kind of I got so used to like dealing with my losses that it wasn't really affecting me. But what did affect me was like the knowing that I had lots of followers who had been following me for a while, and they were getting very confident in me that they went heavy into this. So even like I know,
So you felt guilty in a way.
yeah.
Okay.
And so, and then the comments also hurt me when they're like, "Oh, this snake, this pumper dumper, like
Wow.
he ran it up because it went up 30% because it was at a cent, or sorry, 10 cents, and then it went to 13 cents,
Okay.
and then actually to 14.5, so it was actually up like 45%, and then it started going down and it went to 7. And so I know some guys who were in my grade, and this one guy in particular, like he went in heavy. And so I felt bad for him because I knew that he put in a lot, and he would always ask me like, "Are you confident?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm confident." And so it hurt because I knew that
You let a lot of people down.
I had let a lot of people down. And it's not like I'm a financial advisor. I'm not telling these people like what to buy. I'm not telling them what to do.
You're just telling them what you're confident in.
Yeah, and so it just like it hurt knowing that I lost other people money. So honestly, my loss for myself didn't hurt as much as knowing like the amount of people that I lost around me.
That's really wholesome, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
I respect you a lot for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a lesson. Do your own research.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
Do
not
not
And-
follow anybody, no
yeah.
matter how good they are.
Nothing is financial
Make sure-
advice.
Nothing.
So you think like just to get it clear, you think that stock did bad because of the CEO and his bad reputation?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
No, because I mean,
So that-
if you look at it now, the CEO, I got out before, but the CEO got fired.
Wow.
Do you still
And
are you still in touch with him?
No.
No.
He said, when I did an interview with him, he said he was gonna send me a hat, and I never got it.
I have a quick question about how you got the interview and the phone call with him, because when you told me that, when you mentioned that, it reminded me of Steve Jobs, and how Steve Jobs would, get the things he needed by contacting the owners and CEOs directly. So how did you go about getting that interview?
Yeah, so I would email the company and I'd say, I'd like to talk with the CEO. I have some questions, and I'd like to talk with the CEO. And sometimes they'd be like, "Whoa," and I would be
Like who are you?
yeah,
kind of
like
thing?
who are
Mhm.
you? Like, and then I would be like, "Oh, like I have a YouTube channel, I have an Instagram account." They'd
Yeah.
be like, "Okay," and so like that was kind of like an in for me because they were like, "Okay, free advertising."
Yeah, free publicity. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Get that.
so that's how I would get a call. And so when I did call him, that's when I kind of I grilled him a bit, and I was asking him about his past and why that happened, and like if the numbers are looking accurate and everything like
Did
that.
you ask him for the bucks?
No, well,
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I can't ask
Yeah,
him for the books,
yeah,
but
true.
that's
Yeah, no, 100%. That fair point. But what I'm wondering is that, like, of course, since like the GME AMC hype has caught on, everybody's been like, I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, I'm sure that the stat says that a lot more investors have ever been in the market in the last year than they have been in the last 10 years combined. So
Yeah.
it's crazy how the number has been like going, exponentially growing. But do you think that momentum trading has become a new style? Because, like, if you move with the momentum, you like, of course, like knowing what you're doing as well. But I think that, like if catching these hype stocks, like, catching Twitter pumps or anything like that, I mean, yeah, sure, it goes against a lot of people's trading disciplines, I would say. But do you think that as a trader, you should adapt to those and just take advantage of the opportunity because it's there? Because, I mean, you've seen like I'm sure there's companies that have seen gains that are made a lot of millionaires, you know, like amounts of millionaires, probably insane, and it's still happening, you know, like you see coins on Twitter pump every other day and they do like 5-10x, like it's very rare to see that in stocks compared to crypto. So do you think that adapting to the momentum and just following it and, you know, following pumps and stuff, is that really wrong? Or, you know, like would you consider that that's okay as long as you're feeling the opportunity? I feel like
Interesting.
I mean, yeah, like that's an interesting question. I would say, you need to learn to adapt, and so for sure, like, because even Warren Buffett, like he's never been a fan of Bitcoin, and I mean I don't agree with that. I think if it's not Bitcoin, then it's going to be a certain crypto that is going to kind of revolutionize the world and be like the number one currency. That's another topic, but for momentum trading and just trading with hype, I think that is a lot more risky, but I also do think that it's something that you should do. I mean, like I personally, like I had been short GME, and then I went long GME, and so like I wrote it up as well, and like I day traded the swings on that like crazy when it went. One day it was a day that I went to 340. It dropped all the way down to 160 something. Bought in, sold it at 210, and like I would just ride it, like the big swings. And so I mean, like it's risky. You don't know really what's gonna happen. Like it's gambling, but
unpredictable.
But when a stock drops 50%, it's like you kind of feel like you want to get in, because it's like, well, it can't drop that much lower, and it's like, well, the upside is there. Like you got 100% potential profit. But I definitely, for me at least, I don't use my full portfolio. Maybe I would use 5% or 10%, but not even all in on one trade. Like I would do maybe 5% max on like one trade that I was super confident about, if it was a GME squeeze, or just like if there was some hype coming out. Because I mean, if you got a whole bunch of people all together, they can drive up a stock and no one can stop it. Like you don't want to get stuck behind the herd. And when you get that like Mamba mentality and everyone's coming together and they're wanting to run it up, it's gonna run, and you want to be a part of that. And it's something that you can make some massive gains and massive profit on, like you said, Vinesh. So I mean, I would say you do want to adapt to it. Wait,
sorry, go ahead, Parsi.
Yeah, you know, I got something to add on about what Levant was saying about, you know, the whole pump and dump stuff and AMC and GME. You know, I think what happened with that stuff, pump and dumps aren't really right, in my opinion. Yeah, a lot of people can really make a lot of money, but I feel like people lose more money that way as well, especially retail investors. You know what I mean? Because I heard in like people put their life savings, like teenagers and like 18-19-year-olds are putting their life savings in AMC and GME, and I heard that one kid in the US literally committed suicide because he lost his entire life savings. And that side of like stock trading, you know, it's not like really seen, because who like is going to kill themselves and put all their money into one stock? Because that's just like not the smartest thing. But like, you know, that side as well is also just unseen, how much money those retail investors lose and how much it hurts more people rather than helping people. Like, yeah, it helps people make money, but it also hurts a lot more people than you know.
I think definitely, like, I don't think the retail investors ever won, in my opinion.
They never won.
I think it was just a phase.
I genuinely don't know anyone. Well, like, yeah, like people probably made, like, I know probably a few people who made a good amount of money on AMC and GME, but who really made millions off that? You know what I mean?
I think there was a lot of people that made millions off it, but I feel like at the end of the day, like if you conclude it, like
the first, like, I mean, like you got guys who bought like April calls for 2021.
Yeah, but those guys, those are the Wall Street best guys. Those are the people betting against the hedges. But I'm talking about the retail investors who have no idea what they're doing, throwing in their money, following this Wall Street bets, following what they're seeing on CBC.
Yeah, the average day person.
All that stuff.
But I mean, people did get in like, you know, Wall Street Bets before was at like what 10 million people. Now it had a huge following before that. I was in Wall Street Bets before I even knew what it was.
Yeah,
I was on the Reddit page, but I had no idea. But
yeah, but
I know people. I know people who caught GME at $10 because they just saw it and they put like 500, 600, and that went a long way, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, like I think
But did
that
they
was the
test
start
the
of the
top?
rise of retail. But yeah, a lot of people caught at the top. But that's the thing, you can't give people too much power. You can't. If
Yeah.
you give it to them, they're all gonna abuse it.
I agree.
And the market makers, the market movers, the elites.
That's why I feel
they
like
know
it's
how
wrong.
to move it. Yeah, I
But-
feel like definitely it's like
I
psychological.
mean, even right now, like I'm still holding. I got GME shares, and like I don't think, at least like for me, I don't think it's over. And like I mean, if you do like a whole bunch of research, like there's some shady stuff going on with like the shares that are being like sold in like in the dark pools, and just like I think that there's still gonna be a short squeeze. And I mean, some people say like it's over and it's done for, but I mean, I still, in my opinion, I think that if they don't do something shady in a way that they can make synthetic shares and cover their positions like unethically, then it's still gonna have a really big run.
But I think that's just I think that's something like always like I always believe in that the elites always win, and they know they know how we think, they know how we move, they know how our mindsets are, and they know how to like, you know, literally bait you and just, you know, you just literally
They
bite
move
on
the
that.
smart
They
money.
move it, and they always do it. It comes to take crypto, take stock. They always know what they're doing with it, and they're
Yeah.
always gonna keep winning because you might know, I might know, he might know, but the fourth person will never know what to do, and they're always gonna lose in that scenario. And as big it is like at the end of the day, whatever happened with Robinhood, whatever happened with the whole scenario,
Yeah.
I mean, nobody paid for it, right? Like the SEC, like yeah, they're gonna jump in, yeah, they're gonna do all this blah blah stuff,
Yeah.
but I do feel like they're still always gonna keep winning because they have so much power, and the money brings power. And you know, like I'm sure a couple people lost, and a couple hedge funds that had like a big loss, but
Yeah.
pretty sure they recovered it. I'm pretty sure there's been like, you know, some hedge funds maybe lost money, but I think a lot more elites still at the end ended up winning because nobody had to pay for the consequences at the end of the day. And some retail investors won too, but we're a lot more than they are. So we're always gonna like we have I would say number, but we don't have the power, and it just gets right there. We're never
And
gonna
as-
be able to win.
As much as it sucks, like whenever retail will try and overpower the smart money or the big movers in the market, you know, it never really works out. Like, yeah, they had their time. GME pushed to 400, but look how quickly they shut it down as well, you know?
Yeah, and then nobody
They-
could stop it. Like you could, like
true.
I mean, I'm sure you were trading it as well. So was I. I'm seeing it getting, you know, like literally halted, like in the middle of prices, and
Yeah.
it's a complete. Yeah, he was in it too.
Yeah, there
There was another one of our friends. He was in it too, like, you know, trying to catch it back and forth. And I feel like everybody was trying to, like, you could see it halting in the middle and the price moving so much.
Yeah.
And, but what could we do at the end of the day? We had no power. We had to just deal with it. And like people complain, people filed lawsuits, but what, they paid a couple $1 million in fines or whatever and moved on with their life. So, I mean, yeah, I guess that's what it comes down to.
So I think we're getting close to the end, but I'd like to wrap it up with 2 more questions. One being advice you have for beginning investors and what you would tell yourself when you were first starting out. And one of the biggest things I think that beginner investors have is fear of missing out, and I want to know how you deal with that.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, the main thing is just starting. Like, you want to start. It's the thing that people, they think that, oh, I don't have enough money, I can't start. And they just like make up excuses. I don't have the time. I'm in school, and it's like, okay, bro. Like, there's so many workarounds to that. There's ETFs. Like, you can just buy like the S&P 500. Like, just start.
Yeah.
You want to start to like gain the knowledge. You want to know what it's like to have a first winner. You want to know what it's like to have a loser. The main thing is just starting. And so if I could tell my like younger self as well, I would just say like, I would even say like start earlier. Like I would say,
Wow.
I would say start earlier. I would say, don't be the guy buying the gainers. Like, I mean, and even then, like, still, I like going through lessons. I'm the guy who I like to learn by failing.
Okay.
And so, like, I've always been the kid in class. Like, I'd rather build a puzzle and learn that I failed than be the guy who watches someone and, like, learns from their mistakes. I like to be the guy making mistakes.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's, like,
I mean, there's goods and bads to
there's
that,
goods
but
and bads
a lot
to
of
that.
goods.
But a lot of goods. And so, exactly. But I would tell my younger self, like, start earlier. But, I mean, like, just keep grinding and forget about what people think. That's something that kind of messed with me a little bit. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, it's high school. And so just don't think about what people are like saying. Don't let it get in your head. And then what was the second question that you asked?
Fear of missing out, FOMO.
Yeah, FOMO. So that's a big thing. I mean, that's why I would be buying the gainers. I got FOMO. The main thing is just know that something will come again.
Okay.
Not like that won't be the last stock that runs 100x, or I mean like 100% in a day. It's not going to be the last one for sure. Just knowing that you're gonna miss out. You're not gonna always get every single opportunity.
Okay.
You're not gonna be always finding $1 on the street. You're not gonna be that lucky person every single day. But when you do, you want to make sure that you utilize it and squeeze it. So when something does start running, don't quickly sell it out. Don't quickly take your profit.
Be patient.
You want to let your runners run, and you want to cut your losers quick. That's what I always heard. And then that's just a big thing. And so I mean, the main thing is just try to really sit back and just take a breather. When you start to get FOMO and when you start kind of like feel a little bit like jittery and like
anxious and whatnot,
like you're like, do I buy, do I not? When you're thinking, do I buy, do I not? As soon as you're thinking that, it's not a good idea.
Not a good idea. Hey.
As soon as you're second guessing yourself, it's not a good idea.
You know, I think me and Levant can vouch for that, because every time we would ask each other, should I buy this, should I not? We bought it and then it went down.
Yeah, and then the stories of that, like, you get extreme, and that's why I want to like kind of add on to that what you said. And, you know, it's just trust your gut. I'm gonna tell you that your gut always wins. And every time I've lost is because I didn't believe my gut, and every time I've missed out is because I didn't believe my gut. If you have something, you know, you can try following other traders, you can try following their style, but authenticity beats competition, and that's only because you know what you're doing yourself. You're gonna know that you have your own style. You know, the best traders, you can never follow what everybody else is doing, and the best traders I know personally do not overcomplicate their technical analysis. They keep it very simple, and you know, they net 10 grand at 8 a.m. in the morning and they move on with their day. And other people are like, oh, let me play this bounce, let me try to get this, let me catch that. It doesn't work like that. And like, it's all about gut. It's all about like, you know, believing in confidence. It comes like from your, you know, lifestyle and from the outside as well. But just trust your gut. I've missed out. I know Parsa has missed out. And I'm sure Landon's missed out on some amazing gains. And we all have. And the best of the best I know have taken the loss. And the best have also made, you know, so much money. I've missed out on some amazing gains. And so have I. And it sucks. But the reality is what I've learned is that if I believe my gut every single time, I probably would be somewhere else. And that's okay. You know, we're all still learning, and there's a long way to go. And I definitely feel like just if you're thinking of starting, just believe your gut.
Yeah, just
keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. It's not as complicated as the people make it seem. And you're not going to get rich in a night. You're not going to get rich in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. Impossible, believe it or not.
Compound interest.
Work. Yeah.
It's the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah, and you have to master emotions. It comes out to that. Like you can master all kind of things in the world when it comes to trading, but if you cannot master emotions, you will never ever win. It's a game of emotions, discipline. It just comes down to all of that, and it's always going to come down to that. So it's more than looking at charts. It's more than feeling and believing in yourself. I stare at charts 24/7 sometimes, and I still miss them because there was no execution, and it mostly comes from that. So make sure that if you're starting off, like, you know, you just go, man. Just stop thinking about it. So, you know, I think that was a great episode. It's always good to have another trader sit on the table, have some conversations running. We'll definitely have some more episodes down the road, you know, based on just trading. So if you are into stocks or, you know, cryptocurrency even, we're going to have Landon back for sure. Get some, you know, some more traders as well.
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you so much for coming to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. You know, subscribe to his channel, Canadian Stockman. It's down in the comments below. His social medias will be popping up. You have any questions? He's a very nice guy.
Give him a follow.
Help you guys out.
Yeah, make sure to follow his Twitter, guys. It'll be in the description.
For sure. Reach out to any of us as well. We are all traders. We all have traded at one point, but we'll be happy to help you guys as well. And make sure you subscribe to him and reach out to him as well if you need some more advice. But yeah,
and don't forget to watch. If you're watching on YouTube, go to the rest of the audio on Apple Music and Spotify.
Yeah, it's free, man. Just go ahead, check it out. Some nice gems that we haven't talked about in this video, which are on the YouTube on the audio side. So go ahead, you know, listen to them while you're driving, cruising down, have fun, enjoy it. But yeah, and also subscribe, our like button, and
smash the sub
button. Smash it and tell a friend about it. Go ahead and pass it on for sure. So yeah, I think that was a very good episode. But
okay, then thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And you could be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you choose to be here watching us, and we appreciate that. For now, HustlePedia out.
The girl them skill artist. I'ma give it to our girl. 5 million and 40 naughty shorty. Baby girl, all my girls, Thunderbolt say